Bring a copy of the logo.
Ridiculous.
This is Judge Judy. Amy Davis is suing Corey Dyer for the return of a deposit for marketing services for her beauty pageant coaching program.
Judge, this is case number 9 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Dyer. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, you may have a seat, please.
Miss Davis, you developed a website. It sounds to me as if it was sort of a mentoring website for young women who were preparing for beauty pageants, who needed some coaching. And as a former beauty pageant winner, and I understand from your complaint that you were,
yes,
you felt as if you had some qualifications to do that. The website was developed, and you needed someone to help you market it, according to what I read, and you retained the defendant in order to do that. You gave her a $5,000 deposit. According to you, she did little or nothing to earn that. You want your money back. That's what the case is about. So how did you find the defendant?
The defendant found me on social media through Facebook.
Miss Dyer, tell me how you found the plaintiff.
I met Amy about 6 years ago. I was throwing a birthday party for a mutual friend, and that's how I had recently launched from his stem cell business into a medical spa. We were doing a marketing campaign where we were looking for models to actually demonstrate the services. And I reached out to her and I explained to her what we were doing. And if she was interested, that she would receive over $5,000 in Botox, fillers, and lip injections.
If she was interested in modeling for this other client of yours?
Yes.
Well, how did it come about that you offered your services as a marketer to her?
That is how the doctor wanted to do it in exchange for them coming. We had a group of where we were marketing to the masses to come in and see these services done. And so they would come in.
No, listen to me. You were offering her,
yes,
is what you're telling me, a job.
Yeah, it was.
I want to know how it came about. No. I want to know how it came about that she gave you $5,000.
Okay. So when we were finished, I was in the conference room and Amy came in and we started to talk. I wanted to find out how it went for her.
So you employed her? Your company employed her?
Yes.
Okay. And you were talking to her?
Yes.
In the conference room. That was in 2018?
Yes. It was September 27th.
Okay.
I have a picture right here of Amy that I took.
No, I don't need a picture.
Okay.
Just tell me.
I asked her how it went. She said she really enjoyed it. We started to speak. She asked me what I did doing for the particular company. I explained to her what I did in marketing, and she said that she had been wanting to take her coaching program online and was needing some help. And I told her that I would love to help her. I would love to learn more. She started to show me on her phone other people that she knew.
You mean this was all in the conference room?
Yes.
Shh. This was all in the conference room. Okay, that was after the gig. So you spoke for a while in the conference room.
Yes.
And she showed you what she was doing online, what the program was that she was doing online.
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, so
yeah, we
that
spoke for a couple hours.
Nice. Okay, that's good. And what happened next?
So she wanted to know how much it would cost to retain my services. I told her for what she's looking at to do something online, it would start her probably about $10,000 to start. And she says, I don't have that much. And I said, well, I mean, it sounds like a great opportunity. I'd like to learn more, but maybe we could do some rev share. Maybe what we could have you do is pay half of that and we rev share on the profits. And she said, that sounds very interesting. And so we talked a little bit more. And as I learned more about it, I got more excited because she was showing me these other accounts.
Are you talking to me about the conversation you had with her on September 27th?
Yes.
Or were we talking about a different day? That's all day. Okay. When was the next date you saw her?
She wrote me a check out that day.
No. When was the next day you saw her?
That would have been October 1st.
Where did you see her?
She came over to our office. She brought Greg with her.
Who was Greg?
The gentleman that is with her.
Your partner, your husband?
That's me, Your Honor. I'm a friend of Amy's. I'm also an attorney, but I'm not Amy's attorney.
Okay, just sit. You're a friend. Okay, so she brought Greg with her, and?
She told me and Jarrell and Emily that this was her boyfriend, and she wanted him to hear and learn more.
I don't care.
Okay, that's not important.
Doesn't matter. 27th, you didn't have a meeting. You were talking.
Yes.
She came to your office on October 1st.
Yes.
She had already written a check to you for $5,000.
She had.
That she gave you on September 27th, for which you did no work. That was just a sort of beginning process.
We actually started...
Right? You hadn't done any work.
Yeah, we actually had started all the research because we were there to meet with her on the 1st to go and show her all the research we had done. And so we spent about 300...
I didn't know. I want to know what you did for her between September 27th and October the 1st.
So what we did is we had done about 360 hours of research in researching...
Ridiculous.
What she needed.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So the research is necessary.
What I'm telling you is between September 27th, which goes into September 28th, because you already had done a job on the 27th, you are not going to convince me that you did 360 hours between the 28th of September and the 1st of October.
Yeah.
360 hours, because there aren't 360 hours in that period of time.
We did, well, man hours. So there was 3 of us that did it, and then man hours, that's what it took, so that when we met with Amy, we could actually see what we were looking at.
Who's 3?
Myself,
Who's 3?
Jarrell, and Emily.
Who are those 2 people?
Jarrell and Emily are my partners.
Are they your children?
They are.
Okay, so you met with her and your 2 kids.
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 55.
And how old are your children?
31. And he is an artist and a designer, and my daughter...
Just one second. I'm not finished.
Okay.
He's 31.
Yes.
And he was at this meeting on October 1st.
Yes.
Was he at that meeting on October 1st?
Yes.
And your daughter, how old is she?
27, and she went to FIT and graduated...
On October 1st. Hello, Miss Davis?
Yes, she was at the meeting on October 1st.
So you were there, your 2 children, the plaintiff and her friend.
Yes.
And what time was the meeting called?
What time was it called for?
What time was the meeting called for?
I'm going to say it was in the morning. Amy was running a little bit late.
In the a.m.?
Yes.
And I want you to show me what you presented to her on October 1st as a result of the 360 man-hours that you spent on the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th. Show me what you presented to her. Okay, warranty of services.
Yeah.
What is that?
So this is basically showing her exactly line by line what we would be doing to be able to...
So this is what you say you're going to do for her. I want you to show me the product of 360 man-hours of work.
We didn't know what we were going to be able to do until we researched and looked at all the other online pageant, the people and what they were doing, what they were charging, what their volume was, how many awards they had won. We needed to have something to compare by to be able to create that marketing for her. And so that was the time that we spent.
So the bottom line is you didn't show her anything, nor can product.
Well, yeah, where the product started.
360 man-hours.
Yes, so where that hit.
So show me.
So where that started.
You're a marketer.
You bet. So where that started was after our meeting with Greg and Amy. That's when we began and started to do the work. Amy had come in. She brought... Yes.
So now what you're saying is you didn't do any work between the 27th and the 1st except to prepare this one-page thing of what you proposed to do for her.
That would be correct.
Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, good. So now that's clear, because I was confused about the 360 hours from 2 days. That math doesn't work for me, and I'm pretty dumb in math. So after they left and you had her $5,000, that was on October 1st.
Is when they came.
When was the next time you saw Miss Davis?
So the next time I saw her from the time that we were in the...
October 1st.
It was October 1st.
It's very easy.
And this is important, Judge, because this is...
Pay careful attention to me.
Yes.
My question is a direct one. We are now in August of 2020.
Yes.
I want to know, after October 1st, 2018, when was the next time you saw... Hey, that's not a so. That's not a so. No, that's not a so. That's a date.
Okay.
That's not a so.
October 2nd.
That's not a story.
October 2nd, 2018.
Where did you see her?
So she was texting us.
Where did you see her?
Well, she ghosted us after the 5th. I never saw her again after the 5th. Literally for a year, she ghosted us.
Oh, just a second. Listen to me. I asked you a simple question.
Yes.
From October 1st, 2018, until the next date that you saw her.
Well, it was by phone.
And you said October 2nd.
By phone.
No, not by phone. In person. She gave you $5,000.
Never saw her.
I want to know when the next time.
Never saw her in person after October 1st. She completely ghosted us after
$5,000? That's very...
She ghosted us for a year after the 5th.
I have no idea what you...
So ghosted is when they just don't show up. They don't show up to the meetings. They tell you they're late. They tell you that they have prepared their script like she did and she never prepared it. They lied and said she had all this information ready for us and we were all ready to start shooting her and filming her and she didn't show up.
So what I want you to do is show me what you did for her between October 1st, 2018 and today. What you did for her, what your marketing company did for her.
Judge Judy continues.
How much did Mr. pay you for the contents of the salon, other than forgiving you your rent?
It was the next 2 years' worth of lease.
I think I have a feeling that Bill got snookered. He got snookered by COVID, and he got snookered by you.
Amy Davis says she paid Corey Dyer $5,000 to market her beauty pageant coaching program. Amy claims Corey barely did anything.
What I want you to do is show me what you did for her between October 1st, 2018 and today. What you did for her, what your marketing company did for her, how it prepared. Just show me. Put up one at a time.
Okay, so here's the first one. We were prepped and ready to have her come in and to start filming her. She said that she got...
I'm not interested in text messages. I want to see your marketing campaign.
So you want to see the logo that we created? You want to see the logo that we created for her? That specific?
That would be a start. That would be a start. Take off the texts and show me a logo that you prepared for her.
You know what, Your Honor? I did not bring a copy of the logo. I brought a copy of our conversations.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount.
Thank you so much.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Oh my gosh.
You can't doubt Judge Judy. I mean, as a judge, I agree that she knows what she's doing. She's been doing this for a long time.
This has been a long time coming. I'm so grateful. I feel like...
I didn't come prepared. That was on my end. I didn't come prepared with the logos and the things that we did with Amy.
Justice was finally served. Judge Judy was able to catch...
And so that's my bad. I truly wish Amy the very best, though.
Corey Dyer and many lies.
No, she was never pleased with anything. That was the problem.
But it just definitely wasn't the match for me.
All parties in the matter of Mushka versus Hallman approach the podium.
Michelle Mushka is suing Dennis and Brenda Hallman for the return of a deposit on a beauty salon and the return of stolen property.
Well, let me start with you, Miss Hallman. How long did you and your husband own this beauty salon?
5, almost 6 years.
And do you rent the space from someone?
I do. I rent the building.
From whom?
Bill is the owner of the building.
How much rent do you pay, or did you pay?
The first year, it started out at $1,500.
And what was it in 2019?
$1,750.
Were you current in your rent at the time that you sold the salon to the plaintiff?
I sold my assets to the plaintiff, and I was 4 months behind on.
And according to what I read in the complaint, you had not maintained your filing status with the state, correct?
I had a business.
That's either a yes or a no?
Yes.
So the asset that you were selling was what?
Was all the assets that were inside the salon.
What is that?
The mirrors, the chairs, the stations, the furniture, the decorations.
The renters, the people that
Now,
rented.
I didn't ask you anything.
I was helping her out.
I didn't ask you anything.
Thank you.
Don't help her unless I ask you a question. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
And the landlord, and I was selling the agreement from the landlord to the purchaser.
Did Bill tell you he was going to evict you if you didn't pay rent?
No, not at all.
Well, what's the reason for your not paying rent for 4 months?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why didn't you give her money back?
She didn't ask for it back. She also stated that, I doubt you have it. She said, so I want everything that you have to do with this business. She wouldn't take her money back.
What are you, crazy?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michelle Mushka says Dennis and Brenda Hallman conned her regarding the sale of a beauty salon.
What's the reason?
Business partner, and she decided to fall in love with a military man, and she left the state. And so I was left to take over and pay everything on my own when she used to pay for half of everything. So I talked to the landlord.
Well, did you pay half your rent?
Yes, I did pay partial payments to Bill, and we made agreements that...
How much is partial payment? Let's go. I just want to know.
You know, there was $800, there was $400, there was $200. It just depended on the week and how much I was making at the moment. And my landlord was extremely
This is what
helpful.
the case is about. You agreed to sell the assets of a place that you were behind in rent on that was not a legitimate salon because the license hadn't been maintained for a couple of years. You agreed to sell that to the plaintiff for the sum of $10,000. She gave you a $5,000 deposit. We all agree that she gave you a $5,000 deposit. That's what she wants back. Now, are you back in the salon?
No, I'm not.
Well, are you not back in the salon because of COVID? You don't seem to indicate to me that you were not back to work in January.
I was back to work in January in the salon. And
January?
Then, yes.
Right. And you were back to work in February in the salon. You were back to work until they closed the salons because of COVID.
Correct.
So you took possession of what you sold her until down all the salons.
I sold my assets to the building owner, which was Bill.
Just a second. So Bill bought your salon?
He bought everything that was inside the salon.
How much did Mr. pay you for the contents of the salon, other than forgiving you your rent?
It was the next 2 years' worth of lease. He let me out of that as well.
What do you mean as well? As well as what?
He let me out of the contract.
And
he forgave any
and
payments.
He took, just a second, and he took possession of all the furniture. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, most of it. Mirrors, stations, roller carts.
So he took that because he knew he wasn't going to get any money from you.
No, he wanted to leave it there so that he could then, in turn, rent it out.
Well, that was a bad deal. I think I have a feeling that Bill got snookered. He got snookered by COVID, and he got snookered by you.
Not by me.
Why didn't you give her money back?
Because she told me
she gave you $5,000.
She wanted the salon. She didn't ask for it back. She also stated that I doubt you have it.
Just don't say anything.
She said, so I want everything that you have to do with this business.
Sure.
She wouldn't take her money back.
Just a second. You sold it to somebody. What are you, crazy?
I'm not crazy.
I mean,
I have the statement. I have her text message.
Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
You mean so you sold what she bought to somebody else and kept her money?
This was his idea. He came to me. I have a text message also that this was his, that he stated to me. This was his idea.
You hadn't paid rent to him then, by that time, for 5 months, and certainly weren't going to pay him for March, April, May, June, July, because all salons were closed in Washington State.
Right.
So he said, well, give me what you got. I mean, I can't get blood from a turnip, so I'm going to take over everything, and I'll let you out of your lease, and so I won't sue you for the back rent for 2 years, and goodbye and good luck. Is he a friend of yours?
The back rent was for 4 months. And
is he a friend of yours, is my question.
Not. I would say acquaintance, but not a friend. We don't have barbecues together.
He's an acquaintance. You have to give her back a deposit. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done. You see, you didn't have to say a word. Goodbye.
Pardons are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The horse's legs were bitten. Yes. The pit bull was the precipitating factor.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt?
No, you can't.
I'm thankful for her decision on this case. It's been a long time that we've had to deal with this, and I'm just thankful for it. Thank you, Judge Judy.
The love I had for him just wasn't there no more. The love just had faded away.
Their relationship was finally over.
Things went bad.
Has Mr. Nieves ever hit you?
Yes, he has.
She's lying, Your Honor.
But he wasn't over it.
I look out the window, and it's him pulling up, and I tell him, what do you want? Get out of here. He rammed his truck into my vehicle.
That never happened.
Nope.
Judge Judy. This is Judge Judy. Daniela Hernandez is suing her ex-boyfriend, Luis Nieves, for ramming her vehicle in a fit of rage. She is also suing for the cost to rent a car.
Judge, this is case number 19 on the calendar in the matter of Hernandez versus Nieves. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Ms. Hernandez, you and the defendant have 2 children together. How old are they?
16 and 14.
Both boys?
No, growing boy.
The boy is 14?
Yes.
How long did you and Mr. Nieves...
2004.
And then you were separated?
Yeah, off and on.
When did you get back together again?
Last year?
In 2019?
Yes.
Well, in between there, I know that you had to have gotten together
yeah.
a little bit before.
In 2006.
For how long?
About a year.
And then he left again? Or you left?
I left.
Why?
It wasn't working out.
Tell me, wasn't working out in 2004. I'm asking these questions for a reason, because it leads up to temper. Had Mr. Nieves displayed a temper to you, either in when you lived together in 2004 or 2006?
Yes.
Okay. And you've actually then lived apart for about 13 years?
Yes.
Do you have another partner or mate?
Yes, I do.
And what is his name?
Dominic.
How long have you been living with Dominic?
Since my mother passed away.
When was that? What year?
This year.
In 2019?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Nieves.
Yes, Your Honor.
There were several occasions in which you lost your temper, according to the plaintiff. And you didn't lose your temper and hit her. But you lost your temper and damaged her car with your car, or with a car that you were driving. And she would like to be compensated for that. The first one was a year ago, 2019. Mr. Nieves?
Yes, in 2019, there was one day where I left her at the beach with the kids because we started arguing for something stupid. So I left and I told her to find her own ride home because we were on my vehicle. So I got home, and then like a couple minutes later, she arrived home, and she arrived home with all the kids, and in front of all the kids started attacking me and hitting me. And that was the first time she disrespected me at my house, and there was nobody home. My mom wasn't there or anybody. Then she called her brother over, and then I don't know who she called, but she called a couple people, so I called the cops on her, right? Well, she left then.
So she left?
And then came back the following day.
Okay, and nothing happened with the car?
Nothing happened that day.
So when did it happen?
Okay, so there was this
damaged her car?
It was like a couple of weeks after that. We just started arguing for, I have no clue for what, to be honest. Well,
okay, so she came home?
Yeah, she came back.
So she came home?
We made everything peaceful after that. So we started off fresh again.
Okay.
So that deal was over with, right? But it still brought me flashbacks from like when I was a kid, because she used to do the same thing when I was a kid. When we were kids, she used to attack me all the time as well. And in front of my mom, in front of whoever was there would see it. Whether it was in the middle of the street or not, she's broken my windows.
Let's move on to the car.
Okay. So that day, and I ran out the door into my truck, and I reversed and tried to do a U-turn in my driveway, and I hit her car with the back of my truck.
Okay. And that was taken care of?
Yes, it was.
By insurance, is that right?
Yes.
By my insurance.
Yes. Now, Miss Hernandez, did you scratch him in the face?
Yes, I did.
Why?
He tried to put his hands on me, so to defend myself, I scratched him in the face.
How did he try to put his hands?
Well, he tried to hit me. I can't remember for what, but he tried to hit me.
Miss Hernandez, has Mr. Nieves ever hit you?
Yes, he has.
She's lying, Your Honor.
In what year?
Through 2004 all the way up.
Well, you say 2004 all the way up. So he tried to hit you. Did he ever hit you in 2004? That's either a yes or a no. Did he ever hit you in 2004?
Yes.
She doesn't even know what she's answering, Your Honor.
Tell me how much.
Shh.
What I want you to do is make sure you give me the truthful answer to a question, because there's going to be a follow-up question, Ms. Hernandez. Do you understand?
Yes.
Could you estimate how many times Mr. Nieves hit you between 2004 and 2019? Hit you. Not tried to hit you, but hit you.
I'm going to say about 10.
Did you ever report any of those assaults to authorities?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember in what year?
I remember a couple.
Tell me. Must have been serious.
I remember it was 2005. I remember, after that, it was 2019.
Your Honor, there isn't any times. That's why she doesn't have a date, all right?
No, just a second. Now, those are the 2 times you remember and the 2 times you reported it to the police.
Yes.
In 2019, tell me the circumstances surrounding you reporting an assault to the police.
There is none. I have the report here. There was a time where he thought I was cheating on him, so I went to his job and he took my phone from me, grabbed the hammer, started banging on it, cracked it in half, and just like nothing, just threw it away.
Can I see that police report?
No, that one I don't have, but I have one where he beat me up in his garage. He threw me to the floor and told me whether I like it or not, this is where I'm gonna. In what year? 2019.
Okay, so first he hit you in the garage. Was that the same day on the 20th?
Yes, it was.
So after he assaulted you in the garage, he left?
I left, yes.
You left. So you had gone to his house?
Yes.
Well, what did you go to his house for?
Because we were going to talk about just being good terms and just, I don't know what got into him and just things went bad.
What time did you show up at his house?
Probably around 11.
So you went to his house at 11 p.m. Did you tell him that you were coming? What he knew? Don't tell me what he knew.
He called me to come over.
Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, but there's a possibility, yes.
Yes. So you asked her to come over?
Yes, because I wanted to be with her. I was trying to do everything the right way ever since I got back with her.
11 o'clock at night is not breakfast time.
Well, I don't know if it was 11 o'clock, to be honest with you. It could have been 1 in the morning.
Right. So you invited her to come over at 11 o'clock at night. She came over. You had an argument. Now, Ms. Hernandez, now tell me what happened with the car.
The incident happened on the 20th. My car happened days after.
I want to know what happened with your car. Now we're back to your car.
But you want to know what...
The first instance...
Oh, the first incident when he first crashed my car?
You indicate that there are 3 things that you are suing him for. In case you forgot, I'm going to tell you. You first alleged that he damaged your car in 2019. You got a rental car. When he damaged your car, that was paid for by insurance.
Yes.
When you got a rental car, he damaged the rental car, and now they're coming after you, you say, for $1,000. Tell me about your rental car. Come on. Questions get harder.
It happened down the street from his house.
On what date?
I don't remember exactly, but it was a few days before I had to turn in the vehicle. He hit me with the rental truck that he was using when my vehicle was...
Sir, about this rental car?
I don't know what she's talking about.
That never happened.
Nope. The 2 times that we did have an accident, my insurance covered for it, and I admitted to my insurance, and they did their investigation, and they were able to confirm it.
Which 2 times, sir?
In December 6th and in June.
Then she rented a rental car, and you say that you didn't damage the rental car.
Nope, I did not rent any car. She was out there with her friends doing I don't know what.
Okay. The 3rd time that she's referencing is on February 9th, 2020. Do you want to tell me your version of what happened on February 9th, 2020?
Yes, I was at work all day. Like every day I was at work, and that's it. I didn't even know anything till a week and a half after that. My insurance contacted me, and when I spoke to my insurance, they were telling me that there was being a claim being filed for that certain date. So I told the insurance where I was at, and then they did their own investigation, and they confirmed where I was at, and they said they weren't going to pay for the claim because I was at no fault.
So what 2 times did your insurance pay?
One happened in June and one happened in December. After December, we haven't been together.
Okay. What happened in June? You didn't tell me what happened in June.
Yeah.
She's not claiming June.
June is when she scratched me. And in December, I was at work. She had gone to my job, and then she didn't know I was driving home when I bumped into her in a street, in one of the back streets, and she was with the guy in her vehicle. So I started following her, and then she was going real fast, and I was following her behind her because I wanted her to stop because I had finally caught her cheating. So she hit the brakes out of nowhere, and I smashed into the back of her car. And I tried to dodge it out, but I couldn't. So my insurance paid for that.
And that was in June?
That was in December. The second one was in December. The first one was in June when she scratched my face.
Okay. Now, why don't you tell me your version of what happened on February 9th?
I was outside my house, my front yard, with my son and my boyfriend cleaning the front yard. I walk in, and I hear the sound of his truck. So I look out the window, and it's him.
Hold on one second, but just 1 second. Just 1 second. Is that your son here?
Yes.
I'd like him to step out while you're testifying. And is that your boyfriend?
Yes.
I'd like him to step out while you're testifying. Okay, you're outside with your boyfriend and your son in the yard cleaning up, and?
I walk in my house to get something to drink for all three of us. My mother's inside dying. I hear his truck, so I look out the window, and it's him pulling up. He said, I told you.
Just a second. You're inside.
Yes.
You heard his truck from inside. In what room were you inside?
I was in the living room.
Okay. And you heard something, and is there a window in the living room that you saw his truck? Did you open the door?
I opened the curtain.
You opened the curtain, and you saw his truck?
Yes.
What did you do next?
I look out the window, I opened the curtain, and I said, what do you want? Get out of here.
And where is the boyfriend? When you're saying this?
He's outside with my son.
Just a second. So your boyfriend and your son are in between you, because you're inside the house, and the defendant who's in the street.
Yes.
They're in between you.
Yes.
Okay, and you yelled, what are you doing here? And he said...
I told you I was going to... And I said, get out of here. And I don't know why, what got into him. And he said, I'm not going to leave you alone, and I'm going to... up like I said I was. And that's when he rammed his truck into my vehicle. And when I was running out, he took off.
And you have a police report about that?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
That's all they gave me.
That doesn't say anything. Domestic violence and sex assault.
Yes, that's all the officer gave me, and he said that if they catch him...
Don't tell me what the officer said to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They were kind of arguing.
Tell me what you heard. You were right there.
She was telling him to, like, pretty much leave, and he was, like, cussing and saying, oh, you're disrespecting me, and I'm a... And then he hit the truck.
Daniela Hernandez says ex-boyfriend Luis Nieves purposely rammed her vehicle.
Now, would you bring just the boyfriend in, please? Mr. Martinez, do you recall the events of February 9th of this year?
Yes.
Do you remember at about what time you and Miss Hernandez's son, take your hands out of your pockets, do you remember what time you and Miss Hernandez's son were outside doing yard work?
It was about 10 in the morning.
I'd like you to tell me exactly what you recall happened, sir.
Okay, we were cleaning...
You're outside? Okay, go.
Okay, we were picking up all the grass and putting it in the bags, and as we're walking up into the house, she heard the truck.
Who's we?
I mean, Aaron, her son.
And where was Miss Hernandez?
At that time, she was, like, between the front door and the middle of the yard of the house.
Okay, so she was between the front door and the lawn?
Yeah, pretty much in front of the door.
I want you to tell me exactly where she was. Was she in front of the door of the house?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure, because then she told us to come inside. We're going inside because I guess she heard his truck. And that's when we were about to go inside, and that's when he pulled up. And then they were talking about something, and then her son was still in the yard. And then I was actually about to walk in the house, like almost like a foot in the door. And that's when he reversed back and hit the car. And then I went inside, and then Aaron was still in the driveway, like about 5 feet from her car, where it got hit. And then he sped off.
So she was outside talking to him?
They were kind of arguing.
Tell me what you heard. You were right there.
Yeah.
So tell me what you heard.
She was telling him to, like, pretty much leave, and he was, like, cussing and saying, oh, you're disrespecting me, and I'm a... And then he hit the truck.
Okay. Why don't you have a seat? Berg, would you bring in the young man, please? What is his first name?
Aaron.
Reversed into her car and took off.
Did you ask him, when you saw him again, why he hit your mom's car?
I asked him one time through text, and he said that we're going to have to talk about that in person.
How do you think her car got damaged, Mr. Nieves?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Daniela Hernandez claims ex-boyfriend Luis Nieves purposely rammed her vehicle.
Now, Berg, would you bring in the young man, please? What is his first name?
Aaron.
morning, Aaron.
Good morning.
Aaron, do you remember February 9th, the incident that happened when you were outside raking the grass and cutting the grass with Dominic?
Yes, I do.
Okay, do you remember about what time that happened?
It was like early in the morning, around 12.
You have to speak up.
It was around 12.
Around
12.
12 o'clock?
Yeah.
And who was outside?
My mom, me, and Dominic.
Tell me what happened.
My dad pulled up, he went up the street, and then he came back down. And I was outside with my mom, and when he was going down, he hit the brakes, and he yelled at my mom. I told him...
He said bad things. No, you don't have to.
Okay.
He said bad things to your mom.
Yeah, he said that, and then he reversed into her car and took off.
Okay. And did it damage her car? Did you see damage to the car?
Yes, on her right door.
Okay. Aaron, have you seen your dad since that day?
Yes, I have.
Did you ask him, when you saw him again, why he hit your mom's car?
I asked him one time through text, and he said that we're going to have to talk about that in person. And ever since, I just forgot about it.
So you didn't speak to him again about it?
No.
Okay. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Have a seat. How do you think her car got damaged, Mr. Nieves?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
How do you think her car got damaged, Mr. Nieves?
I have no clue, to be honest.
Okay. Now, Ms. Hernandez, this is a 2017 Kia Optima that you had. Is that right?
Yes.
When did you buy it?
July 2nd, 2017.
So you bought it new?
Yes.
It's financed, correct?
Yes, I'm leasing it. I'm going to purchase it, actually. I'm buying the car.
You're going to buy it out?
Yes.
Were you leasing it in February? You are required to maintain collision insurance.
Yes.
And you maintained collision insurance. Did you have the car fixed?
In February?
In February or March or April or May
I didn't
or
get
June?
it fixed.
Why not?
Because I don't have the money, and I don't think I should pay for it.
What I'm saying to you, Ms. Hernandez, you are required under the terms of a lease to maintain insurance, including collision, not just liability, but collision. Are you telling me that you didn't pay the insurance as you were supposed to?
And I did. I had full coverage and everything.
So fix the car.
But why should I pay for it if I didn't?
You're not paying for it. Your insurance is paying for it. Fix the car. Your insurance company is paying for it. Now, if you show me that you have a policy that requires a $500 deductible, I would absolutely charge Mr. Nieves that $500 if you fixed the car. But I have no idea why you didn't, since February, have your car fixed, since you had full coverage. It's not coming out of your pocket. You are required to have insurance. Goodbye. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge...
To the defendants. For how much?
$800,000.
What proof do you have that she libeled, slandered you, and caused you to lose business?
Next Judge Judy.
I don't know. I wanted to be in good terms with him, but...
She's done so much to me in the past, and everybody knows it.
He snaps out of it and just decides to... I mean, it's a history. This is not the first time.
In my family, that's why I didn't bring no witnesses or anything. I didn't need them.
Like, he made it a hobby to be crashing my car for no reason.
She's just out to get me because I have a lot of money, she says.
He's got money to buy cars out of... for no reason, then...
I just work hard. That's all I do.
Maybe he should give me money to pay my car or just, fix my car at least.
I don't want nothing with her.
I don't ever want to see him around my house.
I've been staying away from her. I have a new relationship, and I'm happy.
He wants to see his kids. He could pick them up somewhere else, but I don't want to see him by my house at all.
A landlord gets grilled.
Mr. Quigley, did you change the lock?
I never changed the locks. I never locked him out. I took his key.
And the judge...
Don't talk nonsense to me.
...gets heated.
Mr. Quigley, if you play it straight with me, you're going to be much better off.
Choose my words wisely.
If I were you, I would choose them very wisely.
This is Judge Judy. William Reed is suing his former roommate, William Quigley, for the return of rent, a constructive eviction, and emotional distress.
Judge, this is case number 20 on the calendar in the matter of Reed versus Quigley. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor.
Mr. Reed.
Yes, Your Honor.
You rented a room at the defendant's house?
Correct.
And that room was paid for by a charitable organization?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
Yes.
Could you tell me what charitable organization paid for that room and when they paid the rent and in what amount?
Lutheran Social Services.
Can you tell me why, Mr. Reed?
Oh, why? I'm sorry. My house, June 29th, my house burned down. So I went to a homeless shelter for from July 5th to October 5th until I moved in with Mr. Quigley.
Lutheran Services?
Yes.
Paid 6 months in advance?
Yes.
Is that what I gather from your complaint?
Yes, absolutely.
How much did you receive, Mr. Quigley, when the plaintiff moved in from Lutheran Services?
When the plaintiff moved in, I received approximately $1,000.
No, exactly.
I received $1,000.
That's not true, Your Honor.
How much in total did you receive, sir, from Lutheran Services for their home?
Eventually, I got $4,800 in total.
And during what time frame did you get the $4,800? From when to when?
Well, he moved in October 4th, and by, I believe, November 20th, I had the full amount.
Okay, so within a month, you got the full $4,800.
About 6 or 7 weeks.
Good. And so he was paid through October, November, December, January. He was paid through March.
6 months, which meant March 31st was the end.
He was paid through March.
Correct.
And had you ever rented any rooms in your house before, Mr. Quigley?
Yes, I have.
At the time that Mr. Reed was there, were any other tenants there?
There was a tenant in place until December 31st of 2019, and they vacated on the 1st. They were gone.
And you didn't replace them?
I did not.
Okay.
Your Honor, the guy left because he did... Okay.
Don't tell me why he left, sir.
Okay.
That really requires hearsay from you to me.
Okay.
And don't interrupt him. In March, the rent ran out, the 6 months were up, and Mr. Reed did not move out. Mr. Reed is suing for a constructive eviction because he said that you locked him out in violation of the law. Because of COVID, there was a moratorium on evictions. And he also said that into March, that you embarked upon a course of conduct that was harassing in order to force him to leave the residence. That's what your lawsuit is about, sir. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And, Mr. Quigley, you have a counterclaim for the rent that you believe you're owed from the plaintiff for the period of time that he lived there after March 31st, and some damage that you claim that he did to the property.
Correct.
When your house burned down, sir, was anybody else other than yourself living there?
Yeah. It was 5 other people living there.
Who owned the house?
Mary was my landlord.
How long did you live there?
A year and a half.
Because from your complaint, it sounded as if this was your house. So it was not your house. You merely rented a room there.
Correct.
And what kind of work did you do before this house burned down? Were you renting a room?
I was a car salesman, and then I did Uber.
When did you start to work Uber?
I started February 9th, 2018.
Until when?
Current.
That means that you own a car.
Yes.
Do you support anyone other than yourself?
No.
Why did this charity pay 6 months' rent for you if you've been working continuously from February of 2018?
Because I lost everything when my house burned down. All my clothes were gone, everything, 80% of everything.
So you had that chance. They paid your rent for the first 6 months.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So
I was
you
homeless.
Had an opportunity.
I was homeless from July 5th to October 5th. So I had to find a place to stay. I couldn't drive as much as I wanted to because I didn't have anywhere to put my things at.
Do you still have a car?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car do you have?
Chrysler 300.
Do you have a note on the car or do you own it?
I have a note on the car.
You have a note on the car?
Yes, ma'am.
With what finance agency?
CBN.
And when did you purchase the car?
January 2018.
And what year car is it?
2016.
And what's your car payment every month?
$400.01.
You have insurance. You have to have insurance also. Does that include the insurance?
My insurance company is Infinity.
So now my question to you, sir, is I understand that there was a moratorium on eviction because of COVID.
Yes.
But that's only, the rationale behind that is that because of COVID, so many people were left unemployed that the government felt because of this highly unusual circumstance, it had to intervene so that people wouldn't be out on the street because they weren't working. But according to your testimony to me, Mr. Reed, you wasn't an 18 up until present. And I assume that you are current in your car payment.
No, ma'am.
My
$400. My mother was paying that for me. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't care who's paying it for you. If your mother's paying for it, that's very, very nice. Mm-hmm. That means that the money that you get from working, you can put in your pocket. So I want to know, you stayed in Mr. Quigley's house. I just want to know who my customers are.
Gotcha.
You stayed in Mr. Quigley's house for an extra 2 months?
Yes, ma'am.
April and May?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't pay any rent?
He had the $1,000 deposit.
Just a second. And my question to you is, why didn't you pay any rent?
Oh.
Now, you can answer me.
Okay,
You'd say he had a deposit.
Yep, ma'am. I didn't make $400 in March. I was borrowing money from my sensei. I do martial arts. I was borrowing money from my sensei. I was borrowing money from my mother at that time. So March 15th, it was dead in Uber. It was absolutely dead. I worked 8 hours one day. I think I made $50. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough money to do anything with. And I actually said to Mr. Quigley that I would pay him the $600. I would pay him if I could pay $100 or $200 a week if he would just leave me alone.
He never said
that was never the case.
Asked him if you could pay small amounts.
Correct.
Because you couldn't. You had already had a very generous gift from a charity.
Yes.
Of $4,800.
Yes.
Your mother was paying your car note.
Yes.
You were borrowing money from your sensei. Did I say that right?
Yes, ma'am, you did.
So in the 2 months that you lived at Mr. Quigley's house, just tell me, how much did you give him for this effort in trying to give him something,
he refused.
even though you weren't making
He refused, and at that point, that's when...
No, just a second. So when you said, listen, I'll give you as much as I can, he said no.
Yeah. I said I have an audio.
You have a what?
I have an audio of saying,
an audio?
Yeah, I said, hey, I'll pay you $200, $100 a week. And he originally agreed the deposit money that was given, he originally agreed to say, hey, if I can keep the deposit, you can give me $600 and then I can stay for the rest of the time. He refused. Then he said, nope, I'm keeping the deposit. Nope, I'm not. You're out of here. I said, I don't have anywhere to go.
But my question, Mr. Reed.
Yes.
Can you show me somewhere where part of this $4,800 was a deposit? How much was the rent?
The rent was...
What was the rent that they were supposed to pay?
The rent that
month?
I charge is $800 a month.
For a room?
For a room.
Do you have anything in writing from either the charitable organization or an agreement between the two of you that the rent was $800 a month? Something.
I have some receipts. I also have this that's just saying
Receipts
how much I paid him and then how much I owe him and all the rest of this stuff.
Your Honor?
Well, how much did you pay him?
I didn't pay the charity.
What are your receipts? I understand, but you said I have receipts. It says how much I paid him and how much
they paid him, and he gave me a receipt in exchange.
Your Honor, we had an agreement, and it was written out in a messaging app called Messenger.
May I see it?
I would show it to you, but he deleted it.
I have it right
plaintiff deleted the whole conversation.
I'd like to see it.
He deleted the conversation.
Just a second, I'd like to see it. Just a second. The agreement is you're paying $1,600 a month for 6 months. What? Rent is paid until February. Well, actually, rent was paid until March.
That's not me in that conversation.
December.
I'm not in that conversation.
Yeah, this says Bill Quigley right there, and it shows his picture, Your Honor.
Just a second. Will, reminder, today is the 2nd, and the rent's due on the 1st, and this is December 2nd.
The check's short.
Well, but I thought, Mr. Reed, pay attention.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Quigley says he got the entire amount of money, $4,800. So you're paid up until March
31st.
So why would there be a reminder on December 2nd from Mr. Quigley?
Because they were sending the checks, and sometimes the checks were late, and he needs this money immediately. I'm like, hey, you've already been paid up until this certain time. Why do you just wait for it? So eventually, I had to call them to get the rest of for them to send the last final check because they ran out of money for the COVID because of COVID or something. Yeah.
Where does your mother live?
My mother lives in Kansas City, Missouri.
And how is she making your car payment, Mr. Reed? By what?
Yeah, with, I think, direct deposit or something like that.
No, that's not an answer.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't think that he is the kind of case that the government had in mind when they said you can't evict anybody. That doesn't mean that you're not supposed to pay rent. You're supposed to pay rent if you're working.
William Reed claims former roommate William Quigley constructively evicted him by creating a miserable living situation. The defendant is countersuing for rent, damaged property, and for creating an unsafe living environment.
Okay, what's your mother? And if I called your mother, whose name is?
I'm Jean Reed.
Your mother would tell me that between the time that the house in which you rented a room burnt out until March or April, she was making your car payment. Is that what she's going to tell me when I call her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's try it.
This is awesome.
Where would your mother be, Mr. Reed?
I wouldn't know. I haven't talked to her. I can call her. She probably answered for my number.
Is that her home phone?
No, that's her cell phone.
What's her home phone?
Don't know. I have no idea. I haven't lived there in 10 years or 8 years.
Whether you've lived there for 8 or 10 years is not an issue. But knowing your mother's home phone number would be sort of an interesting thing, especially since she was paying $400 a month for your car.
Huh?
For 8-9 months.
I don't even think she has a
Does
home
your mother
phone,
work?
as far as I know. Yeah, she was working. She was a nurse. She was a nurse at the Laredo Hospital, the head of labor and delivery.
Is she still working?
No, she's moved back to Kansas City. She was, I want to say, June or July.
Mr. Reed, I have to tell you that I am not moved by your case.
You will be.
Initially, when I went, I will be?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think so, sir. I don't think so, sir. I'm going to tell you why. The only thing that I'm actually interested in is the illegal eviction, and there's no question that Mr. Quigley, if I were to ask him, will tell me that he did at one point lock you out. Is that correct, sir?
I did not lock him out.
Mr. Quigley?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you change the lock?
I never changed the locks.
Well,
he took
what
the key.
did you do in order to lock him out?
I never locked him out. I took his key.
You took his key?
And I left the doors unlocked.
Okay, well, were the police called?
The police were called.
Yes, I have the evidence right there of that.
And the police, just a second, the police were called.
Yes, they were.
Mr. Quigley, if you play it straight with me, you're going to be much better off. Do you understand?
You got it.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. You know, unmoved by your counterclaim as well. But I tell you, when I read this and when people find themselves unemployed, his house burned down, he lost his stuff, you can understand that he was going through a very difficult time. His priority was making his car payment. I'm not sure, since he doesn't even know his mother's home phone number. I'm not so sure that for all this time. And he was, in fact, according to him, working continuously from 2018. So I don't think that he is the kind of case that the government had in mind when they said, you know, you can't evict anybody. That doesn't mean you can't evict anybody. It doesn't mean that you're not supposed to pay rent. You're supposed to pay rent if you're working.
I didn't have it, Your Honor.
It's not a free-for-all for all tenants to say, listen, starting in March, I don't have to pay rent because I can't be evicted. That's not what the idea behind the government's admonition about eviction.
I would have paid him if he would have shown any kind of respect towards me whatsoever.
You know, if I would have been 5'6", I could have been a runway model. But it didn't happen for me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you know how much experience I have in judging?
A tremendous amount.
I've been a judge for 40 years.
Yes.
Don't waste my time. I don't want to hear that you couldn't get a plumber for 3 days and that has something to do with him. Don't talk nonsense to me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. William Reed has accused former roommate William Quigley of constructively evicting him by making his life miserable.
Okay, so what I'm telling you, sir,
okay,
you have a counterclaim.
I do.
You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for the rent that he owes and damage that he did. I want you to tell me about the damage that you are alleging that he did.
The damage amounts to several things.
Well, if you're thinking so hard, sir.
I want to choose my words wisely.
You should.
The bulk.
If I were you, I would choose them very wisely.
The bulk of the damage was flooring that was ruined and has to be replaced. That's in the process of being replaced.
He's lying, Your Honor.
Is that because he used the washing machine too often?
That's because...
that's what you say here.
Well, specifically...
That's what you say here.
My state...
That he used the washing machine too often.
Nothing but
Specifically...
I don't want you to speak.
Specifically, we had an incident in August with heavy rains, and we had a sewer backup into my house while he was residing in his room. And I specifically pointed out...
I didn't live there in August.
I specifically...
I don't want you to speak. He's talking now. This is not a free-for-all, Mr. Reed.
Okay. My apologies.
It was heavy rains, and I couldn't get a plumber for a couple of days over the weekend. I demonstrated...
Do you know how much experience? Do you know how much experience I have in judging? Do you have any idea?
A tremendous amount.
I've been a judge for 40 years. Don't waste my time. I don't want to hear that you couldn't get a plumber for 3 days because it was a heavy rain and that has something to do with him. Don't talk nonsense to me.
Okay, I understand. I pointed out that we had a backup problem and you can only do one load of laundry or take one shower a day, and then it had to recede.
Yeah, we're done. I'm done with your counterclaim.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, I have just a couple more questions before I say goodbye to both of you. Mr. Reed, where are you living now?
In a hotel or Airbnb right now.
You're staying in an Airbnb at what address?
I don't know that address, Your Honor. I just went there Sunday. It's in Long Beach.
Where were you living prior to Sunday?
I was living in the Hilton. I was able to negotiate a lower rate. I've been at the Hilton and then Airbnbs ever since I was from his home.
You've been staying at a Hilton?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the favorable?
They heard my situation, so I was able to pay for $60 a night.
Just a second. Yes, $60 a night.
Plus tax. So it came out to like 66 or something like that.
So you're paying close to $500 a week for the room?
Yes, ma'am.
That would be $2,000 a month.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're making those payments as a result of doing Uber
Yeah,
driving.
working through Uber. And I finally got some stimulus money, so I was able to actually do something with it. I didn't...
Okay. Very good. Go back to work. Your case is dismissed, as is your counterclaim. Go back to work. If you live someplace, you're supposed to pay rent. You're supposed to follow the rules, sir, and not limit somebody's
shower time. Your Honor, I called the police.
We're done
got 9 times.
We're done. We are done.
Thank you.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
You mistakenly parked in her parking space. Are you alleging that she keyed your car?
Absolutely not.
When you do something wrong, you lack the sympathy factor.
Next Judge Judy.
This guy, he's pure evil.
He's a freeloader scam artist.
The man threw trash in my room so he could put me in prison.
He has no responsibility. He has an immense sense of entitlement.
He told me since I don't believe in the law, I don't respect you, I don't like you. I don't need to do what you say.
You know, lesson learned, don't try to help anybody. Just, let them be people that act like they need help.
One dog owner spotted trouble.
He sort of immediately started to growl and be aggressive towards a larger dog.
My dog's never growled in his life, Your Honor.
You don't know that. You only had the dog 6 weeks.
A new owner sees what he wants.
Tails were wagging, no barks, no growling.
It happened so quickly. He had already bitten her and had her in his mouth.
To me, it still wasn't like a vicious attack.
There's no question that your dog injured hers.
This is Judge Judy. Gemma Coster is suing fellow dog owner Michael Daniels for vet bills resulting from an attack at a dog park.
Judge, this is case number 43 on the calendar in the matter of Costa versus Daniels. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Costner, it is your claim that the defendant's dog attacked your dog in a dog park.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Daniels?
Yes.
Says that actually your dog was the one that nipped at his first, and you should have been taking your dogs to an area specifically designed for smaller animals. Tell me when this incident took.
It was probably about 4:45-ish.
Had you been to this dog park before?
Yes, I've gone multiple times. I take my dogs probably 3 to 4 times a week, about the same time every day.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have 2 terrier mixes. So one is a rat terrier, Boston terrier mix, and the other is a Chihuahua rat terrier mix.
Give me approximate weights on each.
Ellie is about 22 pounds. Prancer is smaller. He's 15 pounds.
Reasonable size. What kind of dog do you have, Mr. Daniels?
I have a golden lab mix named Jack.
And about how much does he weigh?
About 91 pounds, according to his last vet visit.
How old is he?
We were told he was 3 years old, Your Honor, when we rescued him back in June.
So you rescued him in June. This happened within about a month of your becoming his new owners.
Correct, about 6 weeks.
So I would assume that you had not been to this dog park frequently before.
Not frequently. We've went the prior 2 weeks prior to this third visit.
Is there, Mr. Daniels, a separate area for large dogs and small dogs that is marked in the dog park?
Yes, Your Honor, clearly marked on the gates of both entrances.
Is that right?
There's a sign that has a recommended weight limit, correct, not a required limit.
Okay, but what is the recommended weight limit for small dogs?
I actually under 30 pounds for the small side.
Are they fenced in any way?
Yes, the 2 areas are fenced in separately, correct.
Could you tell me why you didn't take your 2 small dogs into the small dog area?
So actually, we tend to go on both sides, so we've taken them onto both areas.
The question was a simple one. I have small dogs, and if there's a dog area that is suggested for small dogs, I would certainly take my dogs into a small dog area rather than one where there are much larger dogs. As a dog owner for 60 years, it's just would be my preference, and there's a certain wisdom to that. That's why they separate the areas large and small. So I'm just curious as to why you took your 2 small dogs into the large dog area.
Honestly, I've done it for a long time, and Ellie enjoys playing with larger dogs. You know, she's 22 pounds, but she's pretty tall, so she likes to play with bigger dogs. And there are way more details to this story that really show that, honestly, the size of my dog has nothing to do with this, and I would love to share those details.
I'm going to let you. I'm just curious as to why, and I'm certainly interested in hearing the details of what you have to tell me. But you're the parent of the 2 dogs, just like you're the parent of children. And if you take 2 toddlers into a toddler pool, and if you take older children who are going to take my toddler into an area where there were other toddlers, so that if they fell or if they were pushed or something, they would be shoved or pushed by someone of an appropriate size so that they wouldn't be hurt. And I sort of feel the same way about dogs. If you have a 100-pound dog as opposed to a 15-pound dog, a 100-pound dog can cause a great deal of damage to a 15-pound dog. So I, as a parent, would want to exercise due caution. That's what I'm suggesting to you. That doesn't mean that the defendant wasn't at fault. I'll hear you. I'm just talking to you about you being the parent. The dog doesn't have any choice about where to go, just like a toddler doesn't have any choice as to where to go. The parent puts the child in a position. And if you put your child in a position where they can get seriously injured because they are tiny and the other kids are bigger, well, that's your responsibility. So now you're going to explain to me how it's Mr. Daniels' responsibility to pay for the vet bills when he had his big dog in the big dog area.
Sure, absolutely. So, you know, on that day, as per usual, I took them to the park. They played a little bit on the smaller side. They went back onto the bigger side where we've interacted with similar dogs.
Just a second.
Yes.
Ms. Costham, to the bigger side. In order to get them to the bigger side, do you have to go out the smaller side and purposely go into another gate to go into the larger side?
Yes.
So you left the small side, you went to the big side. And?
Correct. And we entered the park. Ellie is the one who was hurt, and she's 22 pounds, just to clarify. So she went off and played. They played for about half an hour. It's a very big park. So after she had played and interacted with the dogs who were there, who she knows, I went to sit in the chairs that are directly across from the entrance. And both Ellie and Prance were sitting next to me. And because I'm facing the entrance, I can see people who are coming in and out of the park. So I did see Mr. Daniels enter the park with his dog, take his dog off the leash. A lot of the dogs were congregated in a shade area. He went over, that dog went over, they played for a little bit, and then pretty quickly his dog focused on a whippet dog, and that dog sort of started to scream and get scared and start to run towards the gate. I watched his dog chase that dog towards the gate. Other dogs followed, as dogs do in parks. The owners came, the owners took their dog, left the park, and I believe he took
the owner of the whippet.
Yes, correct.
Just the owner of the whippet.
Had his dog by the collar. He let go of his dog, and his dog ran very quickly towards the opposite end of the park, probably about 15 to 20 feet from where I was sitting. And he sort of immediately started to growl and be aggressive towards a larger Australian Shepherd dog.
My dog's never growled in his life, Your Honor. That's not incorrect.
Just a second, Mr. Daniels.
Okay.
First of all, don't interrupt her. Second of all, you don't know that. You only had the dog 6 weeks. Okay, go ahead.
So I watched as his dog sort of acted aggressively towards this Australian Shepherd. The owner picked up the Shepherd. You know, it was a big dog, but he picked him up, to try to separate him. Once again, Mr. Daniels had his dog.
Just a second.
No.
Yes.
Ms. Costa, just a second.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
I told you not to interrupt.
Okay.
They hadn't been fighting.
They had not made contact. They were barking at each other very aggressively.
Correct. They were barking.
Very aggressively, yes.
That's not a...
Fine.
Sorry.
They were barking very aggressively. You're interrupting again, which is irritating.
Sorry, Your Honor.
So now, and...
Okay, so at that point, I said, no, this is not right. This does not look like it's going to go well. I'm going to take my dogs and leave. So I have a split leash to keep the two dogs on. So I put them both on the leash. I stood up. I started to walk probably 10 feet, and his dog ran over towards mine, again, barking aggressively. And so I tried to put my foot sort of in between the two dogs and pull my dog back on the leash to separate.
Which dog? You
Ellie.
had two dogs.
Yes, so Ellie, the terrier, she's the 22-pound dog. And so she's the one who interacted with his dog, and his dog was barking.
Okay.
And so
now, when his dog... Just a second.
Yes, absolutely.
Ms. Costa, when his dog ran up to you and to Ellie and was barking, did Ellie bark?
After he growled the second time,
Mr.
yes.
Costa, so his dog barked and growled once, and then Ellie started to bark.
Yes.
Now the two dogs are barking at each other.
Correct. So I...
Just a second. So you have a 22-pound dog barking at a 90-pound dog.
Yes.
Are they facing each other?
Yes.
And you have yours on a leash.
Correct.
And Mr. Daniels does not have his on a leash.
Correct.
Is there any reason why you didn't pick Ellie up?
So
as soon as you saw his dog start to come over to where you were...
It happened so... I'm so sorry.
It happened so... You started to say it happened so quickly.
Yes. It happened so quickly, I could not get down to pick her up. He had already bitten her and had her in his mouth.
Dogs facing each other and barking at each other. And then you said it all happened so quickly, the Golden had the terrier in his mouth.
Your Honor, barking at each other, it's a split second of barking. I mean, it was probably 4 seconds from when the dog started barking, Ellie started barking. I pulled back on the leash to try to separate them, and immediately his dog had already bitten Ellie.
Now, you want to tell me what you saw, Mr. Daniels?
Sure. When I first got to the park, I let Jack off the leash, and he ran in the back with the other dogs. They kind of congregated near the back area. And tails were wagging, tongue was out, no barks, no growling. And then my dog looked at the... she said it was a whippet. I thought it was an Italian Greyhound. Either way, the dog was probably 10 pounds dripping wet. And it did. It sounded like a squeaky toy. And so it started to run, and all the dogs...
But it was also a small dog.
It should not have been there.
Dog.
Absolutely, Your Honor. So
it should not have been there.
All the dogs chased him, and that's where she's referring to the incident of my dog showing signs of aggression, which I completely disagree with.
Okay, and then?
So me and another guy, we kind of ran towards the dogs because we were chasing along with it because, obviously we want to stop the situation. So he got there first. He picked up the small dog over his head and but there was no And during that time frame, there was no growling, bare teeth, no aggressive behavior. It was a dog playing
It was
chase.
sufficient, Mr. Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
It was sufficient so that the owner of the small dog,
Mm-hmm.
who I don't think belonged in that park,
Agreed.
went over to his dog, picked it up, checked it out to make sure it wasn't injured,
Mm-hmm.
because he was afraid, it appeared to you, that maybe his dog had gotten into some sort of a kerfuffle with your dog.
It's possible. I don't believe so, because there was about 6 or 7 other dogs in that area, and he wasn't the dog owner. He was just a guy who was trying to stop.
Mr. Daniels,
Yes.
try not to zig and zag.
Okay.
This is my business.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You said Jack went over to the plaintiff's dog in a friendly way and just tried to sniff her. The plaintiff's dog panicked, and it snapped and lunged at Jack's nose.
That's what it appeared.
That's not what you just told me.
Gemma Coster says a dog owned by Michael Daniels attacked and injured her terrier, Ellie.
Okay, you ran over there with the owner, wanted to make sure that there was no damage done, not by the whippet to your dog, but by your dog to the whippet. Is that a fair statement?
Sure.
Okay, so now you are aware of the fact that, well, you should be alerted to the fact that your dog
Your Honor,
has the capacity to cause alarm to both you and the owner of the whippet.
If I didn't chase after my dog
didn't
during
say
that incident, I would be a negligent dog owner. Of course I want to. If you heard a squeaky dog.
That's not what I said to you, sir.
Okay.
Now you are in a position so that you know that your dog has the capacity to not only cause concern to you, so that you ran over there, but to the owner of the small dog.
That wasn't his dog.
That's clear that you were aware of that. So are you.
Yes.
That's when you should have left the park. According to you, what you saw was this dog being aggressive towards a small dog that already really wasn't supposed to be in that area, and you had 2 small dogs. Now, if I had my 2 small dogs in the large dog area, and I saw another small dog being potent aggressive dog, that's when I would say, you know what? I'm getting out of this large dog area. I'm taking my dog back to the small dog area where the largest dog can't be more than 30 pounds. That's what I would have done as the parent. That's your responsibility. The dog can't take himself or herself to the small dog park. Just as he saw that aggressive behavior, so did you. Now, how much after this first, what you described as aggressive behavior, was there some sort of Mr. Daniels kerfuffle with another dog, where another owner picked their dog up and left? Come on. Was it a minute? Was it 2 minutes? Was it 3 minutes? Was it 5 minutes?
Well, I don't actually remember the incident with the dog that she's talking about.
If you don't remember it, I'll let her describe it to me. How much time elapsed between the first incident that you saw and the second?
Less than a minute. He had let go of his dog, and it immediately ran to the other end of the park and got into the altercation with the second dog.
Okay. So now, Mr. Daniels, you want to describe to me the interaction as you saw it between Miss Coster's dog, Ellie, terrier, and your dog?
Sure.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was walking back from the incident with the smaller dog, and Jack was back playing with the other dog 50 feet. And when I got to that area, I'm walking towards my dog, and there's a skirmish, a scuffle. There's 2 dogs, and then, boom, it just happened, and it ended with her dog getting bit. He didn't latch onto the dog. It wasn't, like a vicious attack. Unfortunately happened, but to me, it still wasn't like a vicious attack. It was a dog just reacting to another small dog that shouldn't have been there.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, but that is not true.
Just a second.
Okay.
Actually, what you said to me was, it happened in a split second, because I said, why didn't you pick up your dog? You said the whole thing happened in a split second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you rescue a dog, before you allow that dog to be free in a situation where they can cause injury...
We had 9 training sessions.
The training sessions clearly didn't work.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gemma Coster claims a dog owned by Michael Daniels attacked her terrier at a dog park.
Now, Mr. Daniels, there's no question that your dog injured hers. And what you said to me in your answer was actually not truthful. You said Jack went over to the plaintiff's dog in a friendly way and just tried to sniff her. Jack is a big dog. That's what you think. And it snapped and lunged at Jack's nose.
That's what it appeared.
Well, that's not true. That's not, just a second. That's not what you just told me. That's not what you just told me.
Okay.
So now I want to see the vet bills from Ellie, who I assume is okay. Is that right?
She is now okay, yes, after 3 days in the hospital,
Great.
yes.
Okay, so what are the vet bills?
Sure, let me show you. I also have the summary, the discharge summaries, in case you wanted to see the injuries sustained, but I will show you the bills first.
I would like to see the discharge summary as well after I see the bills.
Sure. So I have 2 bills. Do you want me to put them up one at a time?
Yeah, just tell me what the aggregate amount is.
Sure. So the aggregate amount is $4,591.72, and it's the total of 2 bills.
Okay. Now I'm going to see the discharge summary, please.
So here's the discharge summary, and here is the diagnosis of the initial injuries.
Okay. So this is what I think. I think that when you take your dog to a dog park and take it off leash, you assume certain risks. That's why I just never take my dog to a dog park. But I understand a lot of people do. Good for them. But the dog park people are smart enough to say, keep small dogs with small dogs and big dogs with big dogs. I think that it is this kind of puncture wound and crushed ribs from a dog that is 3 or 4 times its weight. I also think, sir, that when you rescue a dog that is an older dog, a dog that's fully cooked at 3 years old, before you allow that dog to be free in a situation where they can cause injury, you should give it a little more time.
We had 9 training sessions.
Just the training sessions clearly didn't work.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, so I actually think that while you are partially responsible, Mr. Daniels, for the injuries that resulted in her dog being hospitalized for 3 days, which was quite a bill because vets are expensive, I also, Ms. Costa, think that you bear some responsibility. And you bear the responsibility of being an overly indulgent parent. Because if your 22-pound dog likes to play with big dogs, and you say, well, I'm going to take that risk that my dog could get seriously hurt by a big dog, couldn't get seriously hurt by a 10-pound whippet in the small dog area, but could get hurt by that the person really doesn't know intimately because they haven't raised it since it's a puppy and they really don't know what its potential is. So you had vet bills of $45.92, and each one of you is going to be responsible for half. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $22.96. Thank you. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.